All right, welcome in already. We are at Hump Day. It's a Wednesday, and you're locked into the Sports Huddle on Southeast Missouri Sports Leader, SEMO ESPN Radio. 1220 AM, 93.5 on the FM dial and online at SEMOESPN.com. Eric Shawn, lead singer of the Mike Rennick Band, in studio, and we are in the Yuengling Sports Huddle studios. Yuengling is the iconic American lager, America's oldest brewery, Yuengling. And we invite you to join us via the EBOMD Huddle Hotline, the number 573-334-1220, 573-334-1220, the Huddle Hotline powered by EBOMD. And you can listen to this radio station anywhere that you go. If you have a smartphone, just log on to your app store, search for SEMO ESPN. Take you just a few seconds. Download our free app. It's got the Listen Live link. It's got links to our contests and promotions, the latest breaking news, the latest radar weather forecast. It has a link to our podcast page, all kinds of free goodies. It's the SEMO ESPN app. It won't take up much space on your phone, or you can always log on to our website, SEMOESPN.com. It's got the Listen Live link there. We've got you covered here at SEMO ESPN. A lot to get to. It is a busy baseball time. You got people that want to, no matter what, get the crowbar out. You've got to force in some NBA talk. DeAndre Ayton going to the Lakers. Need to break that down. And then we've got this host in Kansas City who is trying to make a name for himself, calling Patrick Mahomes fat, questioning his conditioning, his commitment. We'll get into that. We had something that happened in baseball yesterday for only the third time in the history of the game and the first time since 1924. How about that? And then you've got this rookie phenom pitcher that seems to get better every freaking time out. And, oh, by the way, he's in the Cardinals division. Did I mention the Cardinals? And they win. Let's welcome in Arizona Cardinals fan, Michael Rennick, in the house. Good morning, Mike.
You just can never, football, you can talk about it year-round, right?
Gotta go. I'm fine. We'll talk some NFL.
I was listening to a little Jim Rome yesterday afternoon. I think someone's filling in for him, and they were talking about, the quarterbacks in the NFL, who's elite, who's not. Basically came down to, Josh Allen, Mahomes, a couple of others are your elite QBs, but they stopped and here we are, early July, and we're talking about the NFL. Talk about it year-round. You mentioned the basketball.
It's 365.
Oh, it's it. It is. It absolutely is. But it is baseball season. I don't care what you want to crowbar in there. It is
exactly.
It is baseball season. So,
and lazy sports talk radio is always this. Now that he's passed away, it's not as easy to carry an entire hour if you're not prepared whatsoever as a host. Should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? That's a show.
Yeah, right.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. That's a lazy show topic. Let's go.
Jordan and LeBron.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk
Kobe.
Jordan,
yeah.
LeBron. When Rick Ray was the men's basketball coach at SEMO, I liked Rick Ray. I wish he won more.
Smart guy.
He's super smart.
Yeah.
And I like talking hoops with him. And it was fun because one thing, he aligned with me. Now, first of all, I grew up in Macomb, Illinois. And I rooted for the Bulls when they had Reggie Theus and Artis Gilmore. And, back in the day, this is before Michael Jordan, had ever played a game at North Carolina. And then as a freshman in 81, hit the game-winning shot, and they won the national championship, came out after his junior year, and the Bulls got him. I was a Bulls fan before Michael Jordan. So I admit I'm biased toward the Bulls, and I watched his whole career. And when got out of the Navy and I was going to SIU Carbondale, we would have watch parties when the Bulls would be in the playoffs and we would watch the Bulls win. Okay, I mean, it was a big deal in college. Those were such fun times watching them. So I'm a Jordan guy. I mean, I don't care what LeBron does. He better win 3 more championships, and then we can have a serious discussion, in my mind.
Right.
I understand all his records and how, he's played longer than Jordan at a higher level later in his career, and, there are reasons for that. Had Jordan played today with all of the advancements and, everything, he probably could have played at a higher level longer. He also retired twice and came back.
Played baseball.
Yeah, we're not going to we won't get into that debate.
Is this a lazy talk show?
Those are lazy talk show things. But in terms of Jordan and LeBron, Rick Ray and I would have the conversation. We had the conversation on the air at a coach's show. You're striving for topics, and let's face it, there are times where the Red Hawks weren't winning a lot when Rick Ray was coach. So I'm getting topics out there. You got to fill an hour on a coach's show, right? So we get into fun discussions about basketball, and so I ask him about his thoughts on Jordan. Who's the best? Who are your top guys? And he said, I hear that. Now, this is a few years back. I hear this topic about, is it LeBron or is it Jordan? And he said, can somebody please fill me in when LeBron supposedly passed Kobe? He thought Kobe was better than LeBron James. Now, he's since passed Kareem for the scoring title, and he's done a million things. Yeah. So Rick Ray may have a different opinion on LeBron. I don't think he thinks he's better than Jordan because Ray thought Jordan was better. But we had those conversations, and I respect the opinion of a guy like Rick Ray, man, who knows his stuff.
Sure. Well, I mean, I know you kind of said it's lazy, sports talk radio. It's fun to talk about it.
It's okay.
I mean, it's not. You don't want to go on about it for, a 2 or 3 hour show, which can happen.
If you're not prepared and you're not really well versed in a lot of stuff, you may have to stick to that topic, though. And
really, there's, you and I were talking the other day. I mean, this kind of becomes a very slow, especially right around the baseball All-Star game, the day after the All-Star game or the day after where there's nothing going on. The sports season, if you want to call it that, goes from all these different, you have the NBA championship, the NHL championship, you have the, drafts, all that stuff, and it kind of comes to a screeching halt for a couple of days. So sometimes you have to delve into topics that get the dander up a little bit and maybe, get people interested in sharing their opinion because you can only break down the All-Star Home Run Derby, so long.
We've got news on that, by the way.
We do?
Yes, we do.
All right.
We have a new entrant, and so we are close to rounding out the field. There have been some stars that have rejected Major League Baseball. They will not participate in the Home Run Derby, so we can get to that.
Is the torpedo bat allowed in the Home Run Derby?
Boy, it's a good question, and why would it not be? It's allowed in a game.
I think it has to be.
I mean, it's allowed in the sport.
How many times will the torpedo bat be mentioned during the Home Run Derby if someone is utilizing the torpedo bat?
My opinion
It'll get brought up.
That it would be malpractice on a broadcast of the Home Run Derby not to mention the torpedo. It's a topic. It's a thing.
It is.
Just my opinion.
Right. What would Babe Ruth have done with a torpedo bat?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know.
Anyway.
He swung a big bat, a very heavy bat.
Right.
Heavier than, a lot of people swing now. I will say this. So the Babe Ruth Missouri State Tournament is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It started Monday morning at 9:30. The Squirrels won a game against a team called the Revelers. They're from Sykeston. They got 2 Revelers teams in the tournament. 9 teams play Babe Ruth baseball in Missouri in the tournament. And so about midway through day 1, rain. And so they had to postpone a bunch of games. And then Michael Minner is scrambling because the Squirrels are hosting the tournament. So they secured Kappaha yesterday. Catfish were idle because of the Prospect League All-Star Game in Springfield, Illinois, which, by the way, got rained out. They had the Home Run Derby the night before, the Alumni Game, and then last night it was the All-Star Game, and unfortunately it got rained out. So Kappaha was available. So they played all their games yesterday at Kappaha. The Squirrels had a 3-0 lead in the 6th inning. They're playing the Aces, who play their home games at Kelly. And so the Squirrels are up 3-0. Should have been up more. They had, good job by the Aces to kind of limit the damage. Then in the 6th inning, as the Squirrels' starting pitcher was nearing his 105 pitch limit, the 6th inning starts with an error. Then it's a pitching change because of pitch limit. Then it's a hit batsman. Then it's a walk. Then it's a 2-run single by the 9-hole hitter. And then it's a double steal, including a steal of home plate. Squirrels actually threw through to second base rather than just hold the ball with a runner at third, and the tying run scored. And then the winning run scored on an error in the 7th inning. So they're up 3-0 in the 6th. They lose the game. And we'll play again today. So I'm leaving Kappaha, and I'm driving home, and I pull up the Cardinal game. They're in a rain delay. Okay, that rain delay would eventually go 2 hours and 19 minutes. Mm-hmm. I don't know anybody that may have also been listening during the rain delay, but I've got an hour drive from Kappaha to St. Genevieve. The entire drive, they're in rain delay programming. And what was their rain delay programming? It was a 2005 radio show at Shannon's. It was Mike Shannon, Bob Gibson for the first part of the conversation. Cardinals were hosting the Yankees.
Wow.
And then Yankees manager at the time, Joe Torre, arrives at Shannon's, and he sits in. And I am telling you, that is some of the best baseball radio I have heard in a long time. I'd never heard that particular conversation. Mm-hmm. But it's Shannon and Gibson. And Shannon's always laughing and cutting up, and so was Gibson. And then here comes Joe Torre, and they remember everything that happened in their careers at bats, conversations, in the dugout. Oh, my, it was gold, man.
Yeah. I've caught
gold.
A couple of those, some of that rain, they call it rain delay theater or whatever they call it.
That's what they call it.
It's, it is. You hate that you're missing the game, but to have a chance to hear that, because I'm sure it's archived somewhere, and they pull it out for these sort of situations.
Yeah, it's all, because those shows were on KMOX. So right. KMOX has all this archive, and they're the flagship station. They got stuff that they pull out during rain delays.
Yeah, it is. It's fabulous to listen to. Absolutely.
I mean, Torrey, it was just for not telling stories about, guys from, they're talking the 64 team, talking Euchre. They're talking when Torrey came up, I didn't realize his first season in the major leagues was 61. That's a big season. That was an expansion season. It was also the 61 home run season for Maris, 54 for Mantle. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about the great players they played with, conversations with Willie Mays. Just Hank Aaron. Joe Torre played with Henry Aaron. Mike Shannon and Bob Gibson played against him. It's great stuff.
Yeah. I can imagine, as I've heard some of that before as mentioned, but when you first started setting the scene with Shannon and Gibson and Torrey, I can hear Mike Shannon laughing. That's always, to me, the beauty of his, those discussions. They're just pure. He's got his chuckle going. You can almost not even hear what people are saying because he's laughing constantly.
Hey, big boy.
Yeah, right.
Oh, man, it was great.
Yeah, that's gold.
And they remembered everything. They remember all the conversations. They remember all the situations, the talks in the dugout. Torrey had a million stories on Gibson. Gibson claimed he didn't always remember everything, but then he would go word for word on stuff. They talk about the first time that Gibson ever met Willie Mays, and people that are deep Cardinal fans realize Bob Gibson wore glasses.
Mm-hmm.
He wore them when he was not on the baseball field. He had his glasses on all the time. Well, the first time that it's a dinner and Bob Gibson introduces himself to Willie Mays, they're all going to have dinner, and Willie Mays didn't recognize him because he's wearing glasses. And he's like, "Are you crazy? You don't wear glasses when you're pitching. What's wrong with you? What?" And then after, Mays didn't hit Gibson that well, and one reason was he was unstable about digging in the batter's box. First of all, the reputation of Gibson. He will knock you down. He will give you chin music. And then secondly, Mays wasn't sure he could see properly without his glass. Oh, man, these guys had a million stories, man. It was fantastic. It was a great 1 hour drive. And by the time I got home and situated and everything, they're getting ready to throw the first pitch, and then we had baseball.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
You taking calls?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's head to the EBO MD Huddle Hotline. We are in the Yuengling Sports Huddle Studios. Yuengling, the iconic American lager, America's oldest brewery. Yuengling, Bob is on the line. Thanks for the call, Bob. Welcome into the Huddle.
Hey, thanks, Eric. I was driving back from St. Louis as well, and of course it was pouring down up there. Evidently, it wasn't here in Cape, but I had hair standing up in my arms because I was thinking, oh my God, got Bob Gibson, Shannon, and I was like, oh my gosh, the things that were saying. And when Joe Torre came in, I was like, oh my gosh. But people don't realize Shannon in 64, 67, 68, he actually hit a home run in each one of those World Series. He's the only guy that did that for the Cardinals. People go, what? Yeah, Shannon hit one in 64, 67, 68. You look at all those years of the 60s, and you look at Gibson, my brother. I was talking to my brother on the way home as well, and he said, yeah, remember when Gibson had the 1.12 ERA in 60? I said, yeah, the mound was higher, and that's why they call it the Gibson rule. That's why they lowered the mound because of him. But he was 21-9, and he had 13 shutouts. He also got shut out 5 times.
I was going to say, I mean, can you imagine a guy with a 1.12 ERA?
Like, holy smokes.
A 1.12 ERA losing 9 games? It doesn't seem possible.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, and there, you look back, and I can get my baseball cards out. I've got a million of them. Tony Cloninger, remember the guy that hit 2 grand slams in one game from Cincinnati Reds?
Yep.
I listen to you guys all the time when I'm driving. I just listen to you guys in the morning when I'm just driving. But, yeah, Tony Cloninger hit 2 grand. His ERA was probably right at 3 or 3.25 for his career. Why would a guy look like that if he pitched for 15 years? What kind of money would he be making if he had a 3.25 ERA? It's just such a different game, and I understand that part too. But I've seen Bob Gibson. He said, "Well, he's going to put one in." They used to put one in his ear hole. Now I used to love that. That guy's digging in. Willie Mays said he didn't dig in. Yeah, he was going to put one in your ear hole if you dug in too much. Put one in his ear hole.
And they also talked about, because at the time, you got to remember in 2005, Joe Torre already had multiple World Series under his belt. He had multiple stops as a manager, including St. Louis, Mets, Braves. So, I mean, he was a longtime manager, and they were talking about policing the game themselves back in their day about if somebody got hit, there was payback, and then it was over. It was over. And then now the umpires at that point were starting to insert themselves in Major League Baseball. There were warnings issued after the first guy got hit, and they were talking about that they didn't like that. And, the discussions were fascinating.
Well, Eric, I'm telling you, I'm 65 years old. I've got 7 brothers from 70 to 60. There's 10 years between 8 of us. We listen to baseball, love baseball, but I always thought back in the day when we were listening to it, even in the 60s and 70s, but it was always we knew who the umpires were too. We knew the names of umpires. You actually knew who the umpires were. I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't rattle them off now, but back then, it seemed like you knew the names of the umpires. Yep. Oh yeah, he's good. But there wasn't a big deal about umpires. I don't. I'm still not real big on all this technology. I mean, it's good in a way, but actually at the same time, I don't know. It takes away from the original. Sure. I don't know. I don't know how to really address that. In my mind, I look at it and go, well, they're going to have somebody calling strikes and balls a man, or they're going to call him. What are they going to do? Are they going to replay everything?
No. What they will do, they've been doing it in the minor leagues for the last few years. Umpires are going to be calling the game. Nothing is going to change in that respect unless a pitcher, a hitter, or a catcher says, you know what? That pitch was outside on strike 3. That could be a game-changing call. We want to challenge it. And I'm telling you, within 10 seconds, Bob, that replay is up on the screen, the Hawkeye replay. It's up on the video board at the ballpark, and within 20 seconds, the call is made, strike or ball. Nobody has to go to a headset, none of that stuff.
Right, and that's in every sport. It's not just baseball. I look at it and I think, my son-in-law, he's soccer. He's a soccer crazy person. I'm like, they never had replays on offside and on this and that, and I'm like, they do. They have, they can challenge everything. It's like challenge everything in football, challenge everything in I mean, I don't know. I don't. At some point, I mean, there's got to be. I mean, I don't know.
Right, you're only going to have 2 challenges for the strike zone, and now you've got to be judicious as a major league manager. You don't want to use your challenge in the first inning and lose it, and then you don't have it for. So it's not unlimited challenges in baseball.
Right.
All right. Hey, good stuff, man.
I was listening to you. I had one more question for you. Michael Jordan evidently is your favorite guy of all time.
Yes.
Okay. Mine as well, but I don't buy Nikes because I never really. Phil Knight is not one of my favorite people in the world. I always thought that he was he had slave labor and all that stuff. But
sure.
Anyway, I thought. But anyway, you go back to you say Michael Jordan. You talk about LeBron, and you talk about all these people now, and it's that big giant debate. Who's better? Oh, he's in a different era. The era. I hate that debate about anything, whether it's football, baseball, basketball. I hate that debate about, well, he wouldn't have been able to play. He would have been able to compete in this, at this time. I'm like, really? How about Babe Ruth when he hit 59 home runs the first time? He hit more home runs than any other team in the league combined.
Correct.
I said he was ahead of his peers. He did things that his peers were not doing. So whether or not, he ate 15 hot dogs and drank 20 beers a day, he was still doing that at the level so far above and beyond anybody else. It was crazy.
Still producing.
Little Hack Wilson from the Chicago Cubs. I don't know if you remember that name. He had 190 RBI, 190 or 195 RBIs one year.
Okay, here's the deal.
All-time record.
Here's the deal, Bob. He had 190 RBIs. I believe it was 1930. It was 190.
190.
Then years later, this is a couple of decades ago, all of these stat heads and people that break down box scores and everything, they went back and charted every game for Hack Wilson in that season, and they found an RBI that was not accounted for, so they changed the official total to 191 decades after he had passed away.
Are you kidding me?
That's the way it goes.
No, but anyway, his manager called him in the office one day and said, Hack, I want to see you in my office. Okay. It only takes a few minutes. Okay. Hack, he had a full bottle of just moonshine whiskey or whatever it was. He said, see this bottle? He said, he takes a worm, he drops it in there, and the worm starts swimming around. Next thing you know, he said, whoop, he drops to the bottom and dies. He said, see that, Hack? He said, because Hack, he was drinking a quart of moonshine whiskey or whatever a day, every day. I mean, he drank a lot. He said, see that, Hack? He said, what does that tell you? He said, well, I guess if I drink my whiskey, I won't get worms. You guys have a good day. I'll catch up with you guys next week sometime.
Thank you, Bob. Good call. All right. And Bob understands how you end it, like Jess Bolin would. Go out on a high note. Good night, everybody.
The mic drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent, Mike. Good stuff. So we'll get to the Cardinals here, but we had something happen in Major League Baseball last night. It was late on the West Coast. You may not have caught it, and it is only the third time in Major League Baseball history that this has ever happened, and it's the first time since 1926 that this has happened, okay? The Philadelphia Phillies have a 3-1 lead in San Francisco. Runners at first and third, ninth inning. Jordan Romano, the closer for the Phillies, on the mound. And light hitting, sub-600 OPS hitting catcher named Patrick Bailey came to the plate with the game on the line, runners at first and third, ninth inning. Giants down by 2.
Third one out. Patrick hits a high drive. Deep right center field. This one is off the top of the wall, and it ricochets, and it's rolling on the warning track. 2 runs are in. Bailey coming around third. Patrick Bailey scores! It's an inside the park walk-off home run. Now we've seen everything. And Patrick Bailey gets tackled as he crosses home plate. Amazing.
That is a marvelous call by Dave Fleming, partner of the great John Miller on KNBR in San Francisco. And you know Miller's my all-time favorite.
Oh, yeah.
And so here's the deal. In San Francisco, you're familiar with how that ballpark is set up.
Right.
Hard to hit a home run.
Sure.
So the Phillies had padded their lead on a Kyle Schwarber 3-run homer into the drink, McCovey Cove, right? So it looks like they've got this. So if you remember in 2015, which I know you do, when Travis Ishikawa took Michael Wacha deep, the walk-off home run in the NLCS, for whatever reason, Mike Matheny, after Wacha hadn't pitched in like 3 months, brings him in with the game on the line. If you remember where that ball went by Ishikawa, right center field, in right center, it is super deep, and they've got this tall, I mean, it's asymmetrical there. I mean, there are all kinds of, angles
turns
and everything in right center field in that ballpark. It's a great ballpark. But they've got this tall brick wall. This ball hits way off the top of the wall, okay? And it ricochets onto the warning track and goes to the left field side of center. The center fielder and the right fielder are all over there in right center. This ball rolls on the warning track. It's, I think, 395, whatever, to straightaway center. It rolls to the left of the numbers on the center field wall. So Brandon Marsh is digging as hard as he can for the Phillies, but he's got to run a mile to get this baseball.
Yeah.
This guy's a catcher. He circles the bases. First of all, the ball would have been a home run in 29 of the 30 ballparks. That is the only ballpark it would not have been a home run, but it turns into a walk-off.
It was a home run.
It was. So it is the third time in baseball history that a catcher has ever hit a walk-off inside the park home run. Here are the other ones. Of course a Cub did it. Pat Moran, 1907.
Warning track power.
That was the sandwich year where the Cubs won the World Series in 06 and 08, didn't win in 07. So in 07, Moran hits the inside the park walk-off. The last catcher to do it for the Washington Senators, Benny Tate. You remember Benny? I mean, that guy was unbelievable. In 1926, the last time a catcher hit a walk-off inside the park home run.
Well, I thought, I didn't think about the catcher caveat. I just thought the walk-off home run itself.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times has that actually happened? I would say not very many, but the catcher with the walk-off home run inside the park. Only the third time ever. That's crazy.
And so the last, let me see, the Phillies was the last to do it while trailing by multiple runs. This was when Bobby Dernier played for the Phillies. Bobby Dernier played for the Cubs. Let me assure you that. And it was against the Giants in 1989. But the last player in Major League Baseball, any player to hit a walk-off inside the park home run, was in 2016. At the time, they were still called the Cleveland Indians. Tyler Naquin hit a walk-off inside the Parker against the Blue Jays August 19th of 2016. But as far as catchers go, third time ever. And, oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, it was not the only walk-off home run, or I'm sorry, inside the park home run hit in Major League Baseball last night. Lawrence Butler is the right fielder for the Oakland Athletics. This was literally piling on the struggling Atlanta Braves, who, by the way, are coming to Busch this weekend.
Keep struggling.
They are stinking. They got crushed, I say, this weekend. They're coming next. 10-1, they lose to the Athletics, but Lawrence Butler led off the game, Mike, with an inside-the-park home run against the Atlanta Braves. How long have they been playing Major League Baseball?
Long time.
It's the first day in the history of baseball that there was an inside-the-park home run to start a game and an inside-the-park home run to end a game.
Wow.
It had never happened in the history of the sport. I mean, it's rare enough the third catcher ever to do it, and the first since 1924.
Right.
I mean, it's 101 years since it's been done by a catcher. But this is the first time that's ever happened. You know, different games, but a game starts with an inside the Parker and then ends on an inside the Parker.
See, and I think it's the beauty of baseball.
I know,
I'm baseball. That's my baseball's the sport for me, but you just don't find that these types of things happening. These once in a lifetime type of occurrences that'll happen in the other sports. You just don't see it.
It's just cool.
Yeah. You said the Braves do come to St. Louis this weekend.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, that loss for the Braves, their fifth in a row, they had this young pitcher they had called up from AAA. He gave up 8 earned runs in that game, and Brian Schnitker met him in his office after the game and gave him his bus ticket back to Gwinnett, Georgia. He said, run it back to AAA. And so that is the 5th loss in a row for the Atlanta Braves, who are now 39-51. And how quickly they forget, Mike, Braves fans are up in arms. Fans are always up in arms, right? Up in arms. They want Schnitker out. Just let him to the World Series championship.
I would say let him go and let him give him a plane ticket to St. Louis. I mean,
because the Nationals just fired their guy, and his replacement, Miguel Cairo, was managing his first game last night in St. Louis and lost.
And nobody wants Marmol in St. Louis, so. But everybody wanted La Russa out. It's just
It's the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
So let me give you this for a second, okay? We've got a fan base that is very vocal and right now very negative in St. Louis with the state of the Cardinals.
Right.
Fair?
Yeah.
Yet, they're just a game out of the wild card. Okay, we're cruising in on the All-Star break, which starts Sunday. After the game on Sunday, we're at the All-Star break. Okay? Let me give you a team. Fans are wailing.
Gnashing.
What is going on? They've lost 5 games in a row. Does this sound familiar? In those 5 losses, which include last night, in 4 of the 5, they have scored 1 run. including an 18-1 beatdown by the Houston Astros.
Oh, I know who it is. Be the L.A. Dodgers.
The Dodgers.
The Dodgers.
So
yeah, they're scuffling.
We're not the only fan base, okay?
Right.
I mean, you look at the standings in the wild card right now, okay? It is very tight. You've got fans of the San Diego Padres, and there's gnashing among Padres fans. We should be better. What's going on? Why are we a game out in the wild card? The San Francisco Giants just went through a stretch where they couldn't score in a women's prison with a fistful of pardons. Could not score. Could not win. Now with that walk-off inside the Parker, they've won 4 in a row, and if the season ended today, it's the Giants who have the final wild card. The New York Yankees have lost 7 of 10. They just snapped a 6-game losing streak. The New York Yankees have fallen out of first place in the AL East. They are 3.5 games back, Mike, of the Toronto Blue Jays. Do you know who the hottest team in baseball is?
Besides Detroit?
Yes, hotter than Detroit.
Is it the Toronto Blue Jays?
It's the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
You know how many games in a row they've won?
I don't.
10.
Wow.
They are riding a 10-game winning streak. They have passed the Yankees like Maverick with the high-speed flyby at the Air Boss Tower in Top Gun. Okay? It's the high-speed flyby. There is super gnashing in Yankee land. So the two teams that were in the World Series yesterday with these massive payrolls and these spoiled fans, they're all whining. We understand. But I just want it to be crystal clear. Cardinal fans are not the only ones who are, what's going on, and we've got this issue and that issue. At least some of these fan bases have legitimate all-stars on their team. The Cardinals really don't. Yet they are outperforming what everyone thought. Name me one person that said the Cardinals are going to be a wild card team. One. Now, I don't know that they will. I mean, I'm not taking a victory lap right now for anybody.
Well, they're in the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the franchises that we're talking about, Dodgers. What are the Dodgers used to doing? Winning. The Yankees.
What is it? 10 straight division titles.
What are the
9
Yankees
straight division titles.
Yeah, Yankees winning. Cardinals traditionally winning. You've got 3 proud winning franchises that have high expectations for the team, the front office.
What 2 teams have won the most World Series?
Yankees and Cardinals.
That is correct.
And so when they don't perform well, the gnashing of the fan base begins. Now, I'm sure, are White Sox fans gnashing, or I'm sure there are some.
They're numb.
Are Rockies fans?
They're comatose after 101 losses.
Royals have had a little bit of, but they're kind of, are they vanilla?
The
sometimes
Royals had
they're
a
good.
taste. They made it to a Game 7 in 2016.
Right? Yeah, But
I'm sorry, 2014. Game 7, lost to Madison Bumgarner, who threw 1 million pitches in that World Series.
That's right.
And then, so they got a taste in 2014, and then what happened in 2015? The Royals won it all.
Yeah.
They won the World Series. So, yeah.
But do these other fan bases get up in arms? Sure. Phillies, you're going to get it. I mean,
Sure.
that's part of being a fan, That's part of kind of
the Phillies could be in first place. They've won 10 in a row. And Philadelphia Sports Talk Radio is just like, what? I mean, are you serious right now with this bullpen?
Yeah, right. We can't score enough runs, or whatever the case may be.
Now, is Philly Sports Talk Radio going crazy about Jordan Romano giving up a walk-off inside?
Probably.
But also,
yeah.
If that ball's hitting any other ballpark, it's out too. So
yeah.
But the Mets won last night. That means they've caught the Phillies now. It's a tie for first. The Phillies have lost 2 in a row, and there is gnashing in the city of brotherly love. I do want to point this out. Last night, the phenom of phenoms. All right? The phenom in the National League Central, Jacob Misiorowski, made his 6th career start last night. Apparently now the broadcasters are calling him The Miz.
The Miz.
6 starts into his career, he's being referred to as The Miz. Okay. I mean, he's fun. He looks like he's 12.
He's kind of earning a nickname.
He's 6'7", I think. Gawky looking. He's really nerdy looking. But, man, he's got great stuff. And he gets super excited on the mound as a young person does in baseball. I mean, he's fun to watch. So, Brewers are hosting the Dodgers last night. You know who bats leadoff for the Dodgers?
Shohei Ohtani.
And so, all the hype around Misiorowski and sellout crowd with Ohtani in town, Misiorowski on the mound, and here is the opening at bat of the ball game, Misiorowski versus Showtime.
This is like Ohtani facing himself.
Misiorowski to Ohtani. A high fly ball, deep center field. It is gone. Ohtani greets the rookie with a majestic blast on an 0-2 pitch.
108 off the bat, a breaking ball for an 0-2 pitch. This is a bad location. It's a sharp breaking ball. It's a slider. It's right down the middle, though. This one he hangs for him, and he doesn't miss it.
And that was it for the Dodgers, by the way.
I think the next 5 struck out. The next 5 Dodgers struck out. And, he had 12 strikeouts in that game against them. I mean,
he threw 20 pitches over 100.
I don't know if the Dodgers had their full lineup in, but, I mean, that lineup never ends. I mean, it's just, typically it's one hitter after another.
They had everybody in there, but Max Muncy got hurt the other day.
Right,
so
yeah,
Muncy's out.
Was Misiorowski a lefty?
He's a righty.
He's a righty.
And
okay.
Will Smith last night was not in the lineup.
Well, he's been having a heck of a year.
He's one of the major league leaders, batting average with runners in scoring position. He's having a great year.
Yeah, going to miss him in the lineup. Betts has been out for a little while, I think, and I think he's back in.
Yeah, Betts.
He's a little down.
He's not doing much. He's hitting 249.
Yeah.
He's got an OPS of 710. Right now, as we sit here this morning on July 9th, and it changes by a point or two every day. But, of course, I do my research, and we will keep the listeners up to date. Okay?
As you should.
The league average in Major League Baseball. Last week, the league average for OPS. And don't say, I don't get into these modern day, statistics and analytics. No. It's more than just batting average, homers, and RBIs. You don't have to go deep into weighted runs created plus. If you want to, fine. It's a good stat. But OPS is a very pretty much accurate description of the kind of season you are having as a hitter. Mm-hmm. OPS stands for on base plus slugging. Those are key stats. Slugging percentage, on base percentage, and OPS is on base plus slugging. As we sit here this morning, the average major league player has a 715 OPS. So you can kind of judge on the season a guy's having by where's his OPS at in relation to the league average number, which is 715 this morning. Mookie Betts' OPS is 710.
Mm-hmm.
He is below average offensively this year. So he's not having a great year.
No, he's not.
One guy,
it's probably because I have him on my fantasy team. Usually,
that's
where players go to die. So their season goes to die, I should say.
So the great shoeless Joe Jackson, right, who now it appears will be eligible to be voted on for the Hall of Fame. Now he's no longer serving a lifetime ban because he died in 1951. But he was a really good defensive player in addition to being the great hitter that he was. And if you ever seen the movie Field of Dreams, the line in the movie was when Kevin Costner's talking to his little daughter, he's telling her all about Shoeless Joe Jackson, why they're plowing their corn under, why they're building a baseball field, and because of Shoeless Joe Jackson. So he's telling her about him. And he said, you know what they used to call his glove? They used to call his glove where triples go to die.
Mm.
And so where baseball players' OPS go to die, Mike Rennick's fantasy team, which is named...
it's the Grapefruit League.
Oh, wow.
You understand the play there?
I got you.
I like to gripe. So
I got you.
In the league anyway.
So, my last baseball fantasy, and I played for over 20 years. Before I even came here, I came here in Cape in '97. We were playing fantasy baseball over in Southern Illinois back in the day, and the USA Today newspaper used to print every box score of every game.
Yeah.
And the commissioner of our league worked for the newspaper over there. So it was kind of media people that were in this league and then a couple of other guys. And so he would, and he got extra money to do this. The computer just figures up all the points and boom, 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 boom. No, he would physically get a USA Today every day and tabulate the points. Can you imagine doing that now?
No, I wouldn't. I would never do that for starters.
Yeah.
But yeah, like many things, technology has made fantasy sports a whole lot easier.
And
so, you used to have to, on draft day, you get all these magazines out.
Right.
You're looking at this, looking at that, and how.
Now you've got your laptop and you've got multiple tabs open. So you can just pull up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I came here, and then I got into a fantasy baseball league, and I was in it for years. Mike Young and Pat Young, my buddies who were at Patrick Furniture, and finally I just, my schedule, I'm road trips with SEMA and I'm retiring. I'm shutting it down. I used to be in the Rust family fantasy football league. And the Young brothers were in that league, and John Rust and the late Rex Rust, and it was fun. And we would have our drafts at, back in the day when Beef O'Brady's was actually, remember when Beef O'Brady's was around, we'd have our draft at Beef O'Brady's, and it was a fun time. So I retired from all my fantasy, but my last fantasy baseball team, are you interested to hear the name of the team?
Sure.
All right. Are you using the whole fist, Doc? All right. So we got a quick timeout. Cardinal talk on the other side. Sports Huddle. Yeah, the Sports Huddle. From the Yuengling Sports Huddle Studios. Yuengling is the iconic American lager. America's oldest brewery, Yuengling. And the lead singer of the Mike Rennick Band is in studio. What was the name of your really successful CD? Was that Diamond Eyes? Was that the big one?
That was the first one I did.
The first one.
Yeah. I don't know about successful.
Is the first one always your favorite? Does it hold a special place? Kind of like.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a musician.
Yeah. Sure.
You ever heard me sing? And I mean, it's, It's
you,
like,
were singing,
it's like,
you were singing during break? I could hear you singing.
It's like blowing a dog whistle, the yowling and the yelping and the gnashing. It's not good.
Gnashing like fans of the Dodgers.
Dogs is freaking. Yeah, the Dodger fans.
Yeah.
Yankee fans were excited last night. They're taking on the Seattle Mariners. They blew out Seattle. There was a rain delay, and Logan Gilbert came back, the Seattle pitcher. Now, the Yankees pitcher was fine coming back from the rain delay, but Gilbert got knocked around a little bit, and so, the announcers were making excuses for him. Rain delay messed him up. Couldn't get it done. Wasn't the same pitcher after the rain delay. Okay, he's a really good pitcher. Mm-hmm. Seattle's got really good starting pitching. But they've also got the Major League home run leader. I don't know if people are paying attention closely to Seattle baseball, but a guy who has already given his commitment. He will be in the home run derby in Atlanta. Cal Raleigh. Now, if you're not familiar with this guy, Aaron Judge had homered for the Yankees. So it's Judge versus Raleigh right now for the home run lead in the American League. And if the season ended today, those would be the top vote getters for MVP in the American League. I mean, that's a pretty fair statement, right?
I would agree.
Okay. They're at Yankee Stadium, and Aaron Judge homers. Raleigh says, anything you can do.
Cal with a deep drive to right field. Way back and gone. Up to the second deck in right field. Cal Raleigh, when will we stop being amazed? His 36th home run. It is now the most ever by a Seattle Mariner before the All-Star break. Simply incredible stuff from the Mariners catcher.
And another cookie-cutter broadcaster who calls every home run gone, it's gone. But amazingly, 36 home runs now for Cal Raleigh. And for those who may not be familiar with Cal Raleigh, big guy, he's got a big posterior, and so at some point, because of the big posterior, someone named him the Big Dumper. And so he's got one of the the nicknames that people love to say now. So the Big Dumper hits number 36.
Wow.
He has agreed to be in the Home Run Derby, which is very cool. I like the Home Run Derby. And just because these stodgy old media guys dump on the Home Run Derby, okay? We've seen it. It's old. They dump on the slam dunk contest. These are media members. Television ratings are good for the Home Run Derby. Guess what? The ballpark is standing room only at the Home Run Derby. So I don't want to hear it from these old media guys or the young guys who all they do is complain anyway.
I love the Derby.
It's great.
Yeah, I think I'd rather watch that than the All-Star Game a lot of times. I mean, it's fun. I like the All-Star Game too, but I like that competitive side. And because you think that, like, do they care about winning this or not? Like, are they
the Home Run Derby?
Right. That's what you think. You're like, they care.
Yes, they do.
They care in a big way, and
guys turn it down because they don't want to get embarrassed. They don't want to go out there
or mess their swing up, get hurt. Hey, you mentioned the Yankees. I know we've said this a couple of times. Our old friend Paul Goldschmidt of the Yankees, just to keep an eye on his season so far, had 3 hits last night.
And 2 RBIs.
2 RBIs, hitting .290 on the year. And that OPS stat that you mentioned, 715 is about the league average.
Right.
He's at 784, so he's above average.
So, wait a minute.
So he
Cardinal fans kept telling me last year that he's washed.
He was done.
Wait a second. Is he not?
Doesn't appear to be.
Okay.
Doesn't appear to be.
So Aaron Judge hits 34 last night. He climbs to within 1 of Raleigh, who hits 36. The most by a Mariner before the All-Star break was Ken Griffey Jr. He hit 35 one year, so he's got that record. A little more about Cal Raleigh. He's a catcher.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
He's a switch hitter.
He is that as well. Or a switch batter.
And last year, do you know who won the Platinum Glove in Major League Baseball? They only give out one of them. The best defender at any position in the sport.
I'm going to say it was Cal Raleigh.
It was Cal Raleigh. Platinum Glove winner, catcher, switch hitter, Major League home run leader. Oh, by the way, the Mariners recognized all of this. He got a big contract before the season started. That probably flew under the radar. We're not monitoring contracts for Mariners.
Yeah.
Unless his name's Randy Rosarena. Right. We keep a close eye on that. Yeah. And so he's going to be in the Home Run Derby. Yesterday, Major League Baseball got a commitment from the man who has the number 1 exit velocity in the history of StatCast, 122.9 miles an hour. O'Neal Cruz has agreed to be in the home run derby. So if you're scoring at home, and this could be a little fluid here because Ronald Acuna Jr., the game is in Atlanta. Ronald Acuna Jr. has agreed to be in the home run derby, but he was out of the lineup last night. Back soreness.
Guy can't stay healthy.
So we're talking about that. It's coming up this Monday. So, I mean, first of all, if you're the Atlanta Braves, you're probably saying, we're going to encourage him not to be in the home run derby. Is he going to be healthy? I don't know, but as of now, it is Ronald Acuna, Cal Raleigh, James Wood of the Washington Nationals. This guy can rake.
Yeah.
O'Neal Cruz, and now Byron Buxton of the Minnesota Twins. Buxton is a super talent that has never been able to stay healthy. When he's healthy, man, he's one of the best players in the sport. Gold Glover in center. I mean, he's great. But here's the reason why he agreed to be in the home run derby, Byron Buxton. Tell me what you think about this as a dad. Okay?
Okay.
He has an 11-year-old son named Bricks, who regularly plays home run derby on the MLB The Show video game at home. Here's the quote. He's always like, Dad, if you do this, I want to bring you a towel. And I'm like, all right. That's all he cares about. He wants Dad to do it so he can bring me a towel and a Gatorade, and for me, that's special. Out of everybody there, all the people he's going to see, that's what he wants and cares about. So it's the small things that add up to the big ones. And that is why Byron Buxton agreed to be in the home run derby.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I can picture that. I mean, again, watching it, what happens in between, they call their timeout or whatever the case is. Here comes the towel, here comes the Gatorade, and for him to be able to have a chance to do that for his dad, that's pretty awesome.
And some guys have opted out.
Yeah.
No Ohtani, no Judge. Pete Alonso, 2-time winner. I'll pass.
I get why you may not want to do it. I mean, I can understand that. I think, especially if you've done it before, or if you're a 2-time winner. I mean, what else do you have to really prove other than to go out and lose? And you don't want to probably
go
lose.
Defend your title.
Well, there's that. Well, he's already done it once.
Do it again.
He's already done it once, but
we just want to see the big slug. Kyle Schwarber, no. But, Alonso and Schwarber kind of held out that, hey, doesn't mean that I'll never do it.
And it seems like there's a certain guys, and you probably follow a lot closer than I do, but it seems like sometimes there's those guys that perform well in the Derby, or they don't perform well. They're your big home run leaders, and they just don't perform well in the Derby. It's a different type of guy, maybe better stamina, because you're getting, it's a workout. You're getting a good, pulse rate up, all that stuff.
How many times have you seen some of these guys interviewed? And, I mean, they are gassed.
Yeah, they got sweat dripping. They're soaked. They need more than a towel and a Gatorade, It's, and you never know, depending on, I'm sure it's going to be a warm night in Atlanta. It'll probably be hot.
You would think.
You would think so.
And Schwarber, though, who visited McCovey Cove last night before the walk-off inside the Parker, did say that he would leave the door open to talking about it next season because guess where the All-Star game is next year?
Schwarber said that?
Yeah.
Was it in Washington?
Philly.
Or in Philly,
yeah.
I mean? Yeah,
in Philly. So, 27 homers now, or 28 homers now for Schwarber, third All-Star team. And you can remember when he was a free agent prior to signing with Philadelphia. Jess Boland and I were on this show saying, go get Schwarber.
Cardinals, yeah.
And I was already completely familiar with Schwarber because he was a Cub. He used to hit him 900 feet.
I think everyone has been waiting for him to fail, that like, and I don't know why, but that whatever the numbers are, well, he's going to strike out a lot, and is he going to keep that consistent power? And he has. I mean, he definitely has. So at that point, why would hitting leadoff? I mean, why wouldn't you go and get him or try to get him? But
so we'll get into it more tomorrow because we are into extra time here. If you're a soccer fan, we're in extra time. There is gnashing. Can you imagine gnashing?
We've already discussed gnashing
among the Mets fan base.
Oh, the Mets.
The Mets clubhouse and Mets manager Carlos Mendoza. That Juan Soto is not an all-star. There's whining.
Okay.
Mets fans can whine with the best of them, baby. I'm telling you that. Are his numbers all-star numbers? I would say probably, but he didn't make it. So we're going to compare his numbers to another all-star snub. You know who leads Major League Baseball in RBIs? Certainly the guy who is the number one RBI man in the sports, an all-star, right?
That would be Suzuki with the Cubs.
That is correct.
He's not an all-star.
You are correct, sir. Well, how about Soto's numbers versus Suzuki's numbers? Do the Mets fans have a significant and a legitimate wine Nash? A Nash wine. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. I got the numbers pulled up. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. And do you even know how it's determined that someone makes the All-Star team? Well, the fans vote. Well, kind of. Well, the managers and the coach, the players vote, right? Major League Baseball can step in. I mean, they have it. We'll tell you exactly how all-stars are determined because I think some people are like, I think I know. I don't know if I really know. And Juan Soto and Seiya Suzuki are not. And George Springer is not for the Blue Jays, the hottest team in baseball.
Yeah,
he probably should be. Say hello to the radiant and ravishing Dawn Shawn. She is going to have a day off tomorrow and Friday. She's fired up to go see the Squirrels play in the state tournament. Big day today. Big night tonight. Cardinals did win last night. It's Andre Palante, Mackenzie Gore. Despite only 3 wins, Mackenzie Gore is second in the National League in strikeouts.
Did not know that.
He's a lefty.
Be a tough night for the Cardinals. I think Arenado's back in tonight. I think he's going to be back in tonight. So another right-handed bat there. Probably see Nolan Gorman on the bench. Tough night last night for him last night.
Yeah, he was 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts? 2
strikeouts, 3 left on base, I think.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know this, but on occasion, Nolan Gorman will strike out.
He does. He tends to do that once in a while.
So the double whammy here to me tonight is not only do you have a lefty, but you've got the guy who's got the second most strikeouts in the National League on the mound. I think it's fine. Gorman, sit this one out. When they bring a righty in later in the game, bring him off the bench. Pinch hit.
Yeah.
That's big-time power coming off the bench.
Yeah, he does. He does. I was hoping, man, he had a good, I know we got to go here, but obviously had a pretty decent road trip.
Yeah.
You got a guy that he's facing last night that you think, he could probably light up a little bit and just nothing. First at bat was pretty weak, and then everything else kind of, unfortunately, followed suit for him at times. So
the thing that frustrated me about the game last night, and the Cardinals won the game, is the inning where Washington scores. Okay, your Sonny Gray got 1 out. You've got their 9-hole hitter for a last-place team. He cannot hit. His name is Jacob Young. Remember what the average OPS is for this guy's OPS is 591. He's hitting 234, no power, but he's got speed.
Yeah.
And what does Gray do?
Walk him.
He walked him. Led to 2 runs. Only 2 runs they got.
That's all it takes.
You can't underhanded in there. You just let him. He's got to be able to swing. He's got a 591 OPS. Anyway, Cardinals won the game. That's just me gnashing a little bit there. All right, Mike. Hey, appointment tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll see you then.
All right.
All right. Lead singer of the Mike Rennick Band. Stay tuned. It is Clinton and Friends coming up. Thanks for listening, everybody.